The war had raged for 17 years when Kervith found the crying infant in the wreckage of the human transport. He had been hunting collective forces through the asteroid field, his scales still smoking from plasma fire when he detected the life sign. A human signature, impossibly fragile, emanating from a shattered escape pod wedged between two massive rocks. Kervith should have left it. The Dracari Imperium and the Terran Federation were allies by necessity. Nothing more. Temporary partners against the Hive Collective's expansion. Humans were useful, aggressive, multiply rapidly. But they were not kin. Still, he tore open the pod. The infant couldn't have been more than days old, wrapped in thermal blankets marked with Terran medical codes. Beside her lay a dead woman, her body shielding the child from the vacuum even in death. A data chip was clutched in her frozen hand. Kervith played the recording. "Her name is Elena," the woman whispered, her voice weak. "They'll kill her if they find her. The Federation, they passed the Genetic Viability Act last week. Any child born with mutation strain K77 must be terminated. They say it's to preserve the species during wartime. They say carriers weaken humanity." She coughed, blood on her lips. "But she's perfect. She's my daughter. If anyone finds this, please. She deserves to live." Kervith looked at the infant. She had stopped crying, her wide eyes, one brown, one startlingly violet, fixed on him with unsettling awareness. Mutation strain K77. He had heard of it. A random genetic variation that appeared in roughly 1 in 10 million human births, causing enhanced neuroplasticity and heterochromia. The Federation High Command had declared it a weakness, a liability that could be exploited by the Hive's psychic infiltrators. They were killing their own children over a might-be threat. The dragon stared at the tiny human in his claws, at the trust in those mismatched eyes. He thought of the Dracari Creed, older than most civilizations. Strength protects the flame, so that the flame may become strength. He took her. Kervith's den was deep in the Crimson Reach, a nebula cluster deemed too volatile for colonization. He told no one about Elena, not even his clutchmates. He fabricated reports about scouting missions, used his war-earned solitude as cover. And he raised her. It was harder than any battle he had fought. Human infants were absurdly fragile, requiring constant temperature regulation, specific nutrition, and something called socialization. Kervith studied human development databases in secret, modified his den's atmosphere, synthesized appropriate food. He spoke to her in both Dracari and Terran Standard, teaching her the way ancient dragons taught their hatchlings, through story, song, and flame-lit imagery. Elena grew. She learned to navigate the den's vertical tunnels before she could properly walk upright. She studied astrogation by plotting courses through the nebulous storms. She learned combat philosophy from a species that had perfected warfare over millennia. By age 7, she could recite the 17 meditations of fire. By 10, she could calculate jump coordinates faster than most ship AIs. By 15, she moved through zero gravity with a grace that made her seem almost Dracari herself. But she was still human, and the war was ending. The Hive Collective had been pushed back, their queens destroyed, their fleets scattered. The Federation and the Imperium were negotiating terms of peace. Soon, there would be trade routes through the Crimson Reach. Soon, isolation would be impossible. "I need to go back," Elena said one evening, her 17-year-old frame silhouetted against the nebula's glow. Her violet eye caught the light like a jewel. "Don't I?" Kervith had known this moment would come. "The Federation still hunts children like you. Then I'll make them stop." She turned to face him, and in that moment he saw not the fragile infant from the pod, but something new, something forged between two species, carrying the fire of both. "You taught me that strength protects the flame. I'm strong enough now. Let me protect the others who can't hide in a dragon's den." 3 months later, Elena walked into the Federation Council chambers on Terra herself, accompanied by a dragon whose reputation in the war was legendary. She carried documentation of her genetics, her abilities, her existence, proof that mutation strain K77 wasn't a weakness but an advantage. She challenged the Council, to test her against their best operatives, their finest minds. She defeated them all. Within a year, the Genetic Viability Act was repealed. Within 5, Elena commanded her own fleet, humans and Drakari serving side by side under a captain who belonged to both worlds and neither. She became known as the Ember Child, the bridge between species, living proof that sometimes the greatest strength came from the most forbidden births. And when people asked how a human had learned to fight like a dragon, to think like a dragon, to lead with a dragon's ancient wisdom, Elena would smile with her mismatched eyes and say, "I had a very good father." Karavith watched her from the Crimson Reach and allowed himself something dragons rarely indulged in, pride.